and the last name is Jenkins.
Okay. All right. And the name of the police department?
Hayward Police Department in Hayward, California.
Okay. Okay, why don't you walk me through, tell me what happened, and I'll tell you how we can assist.
Okay. Well, I received a call. First of all, I found myself spending the night at his cousin's house. Apparently they went out. I got a call from the police at 2:30 in the morning telling me my son had been in a car that had known people who were in a lot of trouble. So they pulled the car over, and that my son had a gun on him when they pulled the car over. So they wanted me to come pick him up, and it was going to take, first of all, it was going to take me an hour to get there. And they were telling me, like, if I waited an hour to get there, they were going to charge me and bill me for all the costs associated, that he needed to be picked up before then. So that was the first issue. So I had a cousin who was closer meet me there. So they released Tiger, my son, to his cousin about 5 minutes before I arrived. When I got in the parking lot and I see my son's face, the officer never mentioned my son had been hurt. He never said he was in a hospital, nothing like that. I talked to him for a good 10 or 15 minutes. My son's face was swollen. I mean, he had black eyes. He was almost unrecognizable. He had his whole body from head to toe. He was just like beaten. I went into the police station. And I was asking, I wanted to know what was he doing that caused him to be beat so severely. I was told that there was nobody available who could speak with me, that I would have to come back the following day. I'm doing regular business hours. And so then one night, we got home. I was really angry with my son, so I didn't even give him a chance to really tell me the whole story. We went home, and he went to sleep, and for about a good 24 hours, he really wasn't waking up, and then he got up and he was vomiting. And but then I started talking to him and asking him what happened. That's when he told me that he had no memory of what happened. All he remembered was being tackled to the ground. He got out of the car and police tackled him to the ground. He said he remembers an officer putting his knee pad, like pressing it up against his face, and telling him that if he moved, he was going to. He also had a gun pointed on the top, like pressed up against the top of his head, and told him if he moved, he was going to blow his head off. He said the last thing he remembers. He was suddenly handcuffed to a hospital bed. He said he was like, I woke up, or I don't even know how I got there. I was just suddenly there. So then, he was like a little disoriented. It was a good 30 hours after the incident took place. If he didn't know the day it was, or the time, or just a few other things he seemed a little confused about. So I took him to the emergency room right away. And when I took him to the emergency room here in San Francisco, they had the Hayward Hospital faxed all the papers that they had from the initial visit, as well as doing their own exams, and they told me he had a concussion with loss of consciousness. And that was when I should have been informed about that, that night, that he should have been watched.
Okay, let me back up a minute. I just need to ask you a couple questions.
That's a hospital report.
Hold on. I need to ask you a couple of questions. Your son is how old?
15. He turned 15 on June 4th.
He's 15. Okay. Did they charge him with anything when they arrested him, if you know?
They said I'm going to get something in the mail, tell me the court date. He was going to charge us with possession of a firearm, and that's it. And when I spoke to them about 2 weeks after that, that's how long it took for them to get back to me to explain why he was beat so bad. They then said the officer, Robert, which was the supervisor, he wasn't there when the initial arrest took place. He told me that he believes my son was also being charged with resisting arrest.
Okay. Now, your 15-year-old son is how big? What does he look like? Okay.
5'7" or 5'8".
Okay. Now, do you know if he did anything to resist or try to flee from the officers?
What he said and what officer both said, when the car pulled over, that he stepped out the car and that he like turned to, he didn't get a chance to walk, or he was, I guess, in the process he was going to step onto the curb, walk off or run off, but they didn't even get to the curb. They tackled him right there.
Okay, hold on. Did any of his friends witness what happened?
He doesn't, he has no idea, he has no memory at all, and I have not been able to get in contact with the boy.
Okay, well, hold on, wait a minute. And we have a kind of a mediocre connection. It's not bad, but it's not good either. So I need you to pause after you talk for a minute so you can hear me and I can ask more questions. Okay, do you have telephone numbers for his friends?
Yes, I do.
Okay, would his friends be cooperative if we were to contact them and ask them about what happened?
Oh, yeah, I'm almost positive that they would. I have not allowed my son to have contact with them, but I asked him already, would they go to court, or would they get him in? He said that he was pretty sure they would, so I would definitely have phone numbers and names. Okay,
we're going to need them to be willing to come forward and speak on your son's case if this goes forward. Now, does your son have an attorney? Have you talked to an attorney about this?
Not yet. The hospital records that I got, it says in there clear as day, they even put it in bold. Per Hayward PD, patient was kicked in the head several times. Patient does not recall what's happening. And
hold on, stop there. That's really important. You're telling me that that's on the medical records?
It's on the medical records, and it's in bold. When they typed out, that's printed in bold repeatedly throughout the hospital records.
Okay, and do you know who wrote that? Was that the doctor who wrote that?
Let me grab the records. I can tell you exactly. I'm pretty sure it was the doctor, but it's in there over and over again. It also says he was kicked in his, and then he had a large gash above his temple.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. And I called the place after there was no one really available to sleep with me. I called them every single day, like 5 times a day for the following 11 days, and I finally received a call back on the 12th day.
So you've been calling the police and they haven't been responding to you?
Well, I finally spoke to somebody, but it was close to 2 weeks after the incident happened, and remember, nobody never told me my son was even seen in the hospital. He told me that, and I got the hospital records. So he never gave me any kind of explanation until when he calls back and...
Okay, well, let me just give you some general idea about what the police are supposed to do, and I can speak from experience because I'm a retired detective.
Okay.
Okay? And I also do expert witness work, so I'm aware of policies and procedures that the police are required to follow. And I can tell you that in most instances, when a minor is injured, you should have been notified immediately, even before he was released, if he was hurt. So I don't know why or what their policy is at that particular department. I will check into that. But most departments would normally require that a parent be notified if a child is in custody, and especially notified if that child is injured in any way. And if he's 15 years old, someone should have let you know that.
Yeah, that's what my whole thing was. And I mean, my son, even if he said that they didn't believe he was 15 once he was in the hospital. They kept asking how old he was. He kept telling them his age. And he said once they finally got the hospital and he gave information and they could verify he was 15, he said all the officers went and got in the huddle and started whispering to each other. And after that, they thought it was really nice. And he said they were in juice. And that's when they said, oh, we're going to go ahead and let you go home. We're going to call your mom. But it says from the hospital records he was in an ambulance at 11:55. Yet I didn't even receive a phone call until 2:30 in the morning. And the hospital records also show at 2:30 in the morning is when he was released into that police custody. So I guess they're making sure he was going to be released before they even bothered to call me.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to need you to do is to write up a timeline from the time you got the first phone call to the time that this whole thing was over. And then the second thing I need you to do is to write up a list of any witnesses that might have seen what happened. And then the last thing I need you to do is to give me the names of any medical personnel that might have worked or treated your son for his injuries.